Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the human excretory system. We will discuss about in detail each and every part of the excretory system. The most important part of excretory system is kidneys. The important excretory organ. Kidneys are present in pairs. They are present in the abdomen on both the sides of the vertebral column, and these are almost reddish brown in color and they are bean shaped. If we talk about their dimension, they are 11 centimeter long, 5 centimeter in their width and 3 centimeter in their thickness. On the surface, on the upper edge of the kidneys, adrenal glands are present. So these kidneys, they are mainly performing the function of excretion, removal of waste and toxic substances out of the body. If we see their structure, they are having a bean shaped structure, and over here a scar like structure is present, that is hilum, and from this hilum the blood vessels, the lymphatic vessels and renal pelvis, that is going to come out. So different structures, the blood vessels, lymph vessels, nerves also, they are going to enter and exit from this hilum. Now this surface is a convex surface of kidney, and this convex surface is always oriented towards outside, and this concave surface is always present towards the inner side. So these two kidneys are present like this, the left and right kidney. So interiorly the concave side is present and the convex side is present towards the outside. This is how they are oriented. If we see the difference in our left and right kidney, the right kidney is present somewhat lower as compared to the left kidney. So these are some of the characteristics. We are going to discuss kidney in detail. We are going to discuss a detailed structure of kidney. So let me draw the structure and discuss each and every part. I am going to draw one kidney. First, let's talk about the outer protective structures that are present inside in the kidney. So the outer protective layer that is present over here is a fibrous membrane, and this fibrous membrane that is present over here is known as renal fascia. This is the outer one. Inner to this renal fascia is a membrane of fats. There is fat deposited over here. So another membrane is there that is showing fat deposition, and this is known as adipose capsule. I am showing a just little bit portion of it. So this is the adipose capsule that is present inner to it. Inside, inner to this adipose capsule is another layer that is made up of fibrous connective tissue, and that is also known as renal membrane, and this is made up of fibrous connective tissues. So these are acting as a protective covering and they are preventing any type of injury to the mechanical injury to the kidney. Now if we see the interior structure of kidney, the kidney is divided into two portions. The outer portion is a darker portion and it is known as cortex. This is a darker region and that is known as cortex. The region inner to this cortex will be lighter in color and that will be the medulla. So kidney is divided into three portions, cortex region and medulla region. If we see inside this, inner to this cortex region, some tubules are present, medullary tubules are present over here, which are having a broader side, and the broader side is towards the cortex and the narrower side is towards the medulla. So these are medullary tubules that are present like this. These are going to open over here and the structure that is present over here, that will be renal papillae. This is how they are present, and these renal papillae are finally opening into minor calyces, and these minor calyces are connected to each other, and these minor calyces, after connection, they are going to form major calyces. This is how they are connected to each other. I'll label each and every part later. So this is how the structure is formed. Now the opening of these medullary tubules are into the structures. These are known as renal papillae. These small sections that are visible, these are minor calyces, which are 7 to 13 in number, and these minor calyces are opening into broader structures which are known as major calyces, and these are 2 to 3 in number. And these major calyces are going to move out through this hilum, and the structure is known as renal pelvis. And this renal pelvis is finally getting opened into a long tubular structure, that is ureter. These are medullary tubules. The cortex is here in continuity because here the gap is present between these medullary tubules. So the gap is being in continuity with the cortex. This is how they are present. All over. And here they are known as here renal column of Bertin. The structure that is in continuity is known as renal column of Bertin. Now what will be formed? We know in kidney millions of nephrons are present. So here the nephrons are going to be present. The urine formation will be poured into through the renal papilla into the minor calyces. Then it will be connected into the major calyces. And from major calyces it is going into renal pelvis, and then it is going to ureter, and finally this ureter is going to pour it into the urethra. This is the hilum region, and renal pelvis is moving out from this structure. the arteries that are going to supply impure blood is also getting entering, and the veins that are carrying pure blood, they are also going to exit from here. So renal artery is going to carry the impure blood and renal vein is going to carry the pure blood. This is how the kidney are present, and the small structures, they are continuously functioning. So this is the main organ of our excretory system. After kidney, the second part that is coming is ureter. So ureter, the function of ureter is, it is going to carry the urine from kidney and deliver it into or collect it into the urinary bladder. The second structure is ureter. Again, just like kidney, ureter are also present in pairs. So from each kidney, one ureter is coming out. It is coming out from the hilum and it is connected with the renal pelvis. So all the urine that is coming inside the renal pelvis, that is collected by ureter, and it is going to pour it into urinary bladder. This ureter is a tubular muscular structure of almost 25 to 30 centimeter in length, and ureter is mostly composed of transitional epithelium. The third part of excretory system is urinary bladder. It is known as a bladder. It is a pouch-like structure. It is pear-shaped, and the main function is, it is going to temporarily store urine for some time. This urinary bladder is also having transitional muscles, transitional epithelium, and well-developed muscles. If we see, there are 3 layers of smooth muscles. 3 layers of smooth muscles in this urinary bladder. The outermost and the inner one, they are made up of longitudinal fibers, and the middle one is made up of circular fibers. So proper well-developed muscles are present in the urinary bladder, and these muscles, these layer of smooth muscles are present in 3 layers. The innermost and the outermost are made up of longitudinal fibers, and the middle one is made up of circular fibers. We can see how ureter is present. This is how pear-shaped structure is present, and these are the outer membranes. Now on the top, from this side, the ureter is going to enter into the urinary bladder. Let me show this opening in this side. From here, the ureter is coming downwards at a particular angle. So this is the urinary bladder. These are the membranes of urinary bladder. Over here, a triangular structure is formed that is known as trigone, and this structure is formed because of the 3 tubes that are coming. On the upper side, 2 ureter are coming into the urinary bladder, And if we see the lower side, one tubular structure, that is urethra, is moving out. Because of the three tubular structures, a triangular structure is formed over here, and that is known as trigone. At this edge from where urethra is occurring, here the circular muscles get modified. The circular muscles of this area get modified and they form a sphincter called internal sphincter. And this internal sphincter is made up of smooth muscles. That means it is involuntary in function. Over here, again a sphincter is formed, that is external sphincter. And this external sphincter will be formed by the striated muscles and it will be voluntary in its function. So this is how urinary bladder is going to store the urine here for some time, and this urine will be removed out with the help of urethra. Urethra is again a small tubular structure that is helping in the elimination or removal of urine out of the body. This tubular structure, if we see the difference, the function is to excrete or remove out urine out of the body. In females, the urethra, the size of the urethra is very small and it is about 4 cm only in the length, and the only function is to remove urine out of the body. But if we see in males, the length of urethra is more in comparative to the females, and here it is going to remove both urine and sperms, but one at a time. So these are the important parts of our excretory system. If we want to combine these all parts and represent in one simple diagram, so just like this is how the kidneys are going to present. Hilum is there, renal pelvis is there, and from here ureter is emerging out. The second kidney is present. From this hilum region, again a renal pelvis and ureter is coming out. It is going to combine in a bladder, and from urethra it will be removed out. Here the cortex will be present. Medullary pyramids are present over here. The medullary pyramids are present, and from here minor calyces are arising. They are going to combine to form the major calyces, and finally the urine that is formed, that is coming out into this renal pelvis. And from here, these are the kidney. Ureter is taking into urinary bladder and it will be removed out through a small opening called urethra. Now the blood supply. Renal artery is going to supply impure blood. With the help of this renal artery, blood is coming in, and renal vein is going to take pure blood from the kidneys after the filtration. So this is how our excretory system is functioning. We are talking about a broader level. If we go minutely, then we will find that our each and every kidney is having millions of nephrons. And actually the process of formation of urine is done by each and every nephron. So nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. It is the structural and functional unit. of kidneys. And in each kidney, million of nephrons are present. And the function of this nephron is formation of urine. If we see the structure of nephron, the structure of nephron can be easily divided into two things. One is a Malpighian corpuscles, and the second is a tubular structure, that is renal tubule. Now, if we discuss these two structures, the Malpighian corpuscles is made up of glomerulus and Bowman capsule. And this is how there are lots of components of renal tubule, that is PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, DCT, a loop of Henle is there, and DCT, distal convoluted tubule, which is finally going to enter into collecting duct. So, we need to understand these structures one by one. So, let's discuss each and every part of nephron. The first one is glomerulus. Glomerulus is a tuft of capillaries. It is a structure in which various capillaries are present. If we see both Bowman capsule and glomerulus together, let me make a diagram that is showing you both glomerulus and Bowman capsule. This cup-shaped structure that is made up of two membranes. This is Bowman capsule. Two membranes, outer one and inner membrane is present, and this lumen is in continuity with the renal tubule. Over here, renal tubule is starting, and this is Bowman capsule. If we see this Bowman's capsule, this Bowman capsule has two layers. The outer one is the parietal layer, and the inner one is the visceral layer. So, we are going to discuss both glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. Now, where this glomerulus is present? This glomerulus is present over here in this cup-shaped structure. The afferent arteriole is going to carry blood. This afferent arteriole over here bifurcates into number of capillaries. There is division into capillaries, and these capillaries are again aggregating to form the efferent arteriole. So, over here a tuft of capillaries is formed, and this tuft of capillaries is known as glomerulus. This is glomerulus. So, what has happened? The afferent arteriole is carrying blood. It is dividing into capillaries, and they are combining together and moving out as efferent arteriole. This is how the glomerulus is functioning. Then Bowman capsule is a double membrane cup-shaped structure. The outer membrane, the parietal layer, is made up of squamous epithelium, these are the cells of squamous epithelium. And if we see the inner membrane, the visceral layer, that is made up of specific cells, specialized cells like this, which are having some foot-like structures called pedicel, and these cells are known as podocytes. So this is how the visceral layer is containing podocytes. These are podocytes. All these structures are helping in the process of filtration. What this glomerulus is doing, these capillaries are doing, they are going to filter out the blood that is entering into it. So if we talk about this membrane, this structure, all this structure, the glomerulus membrane is designed like this way that the efficiency of filtration will increase. So if we zoom in this part, then what type of structures are visible to us and how these structures are helping in the process of filtration of blood? Let's see about the membranes that are helping in the filtration process. The first is the endothelium of the glomerulus. If we see the endothelium of the glomerulus, they are present like this way, that they are having small pores in between them, and these small pores are known as fenestrae, and these are helping in the easy movement of substances through them. The second membrane that is coming next to it is the basement membrane. This is the basement membrane. And this membrane, this basement membrane is made up of collagen and proteoglycans, which are again providing surfaces for the easily movement of substances through them. This is how the basement membrane is present. And the membrane present next to it is the epithelium, inner epithelium of Bowman capsule. And we know this inner epithelium of Bowman capsule is made up of podocytes, and these foot-like structures are present in the podocytes. Here podocytes are present and they are having slit pores between them. So these pores are helping in the movement of substances. So we zoom out the membranes that are helping in the better exchange. They, as compared to the normal blood capillaries, the glomerulus blood capillaries are having a high filtration rate because of these specified structures that are present in them. So this is how glomerulus and Bowman capsules are present, and both they are involved in the process of filtration. The next structure that is coming next to the Bowman capsule is renal tubule. So let's talk about the components of renal tubule. The first component of renal tubule is PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. This is just coming next to the Bowman capsule. If I again draw a diagram, this was the Bowman capsule and this is the PCT that is going to start. This is how the PCT will be present. Coiled tubular structure, and if we see the cells, this PCT is comprises of cuboidal cells, and these cuboidal cells, they are bearing finger-like projections called microvilli. Why over here microvilli are present? Because microvilli are going to increase the surface area, and this PCT is involved in the process of absorption. So more will be the surface area, more will be the absorption of substances. And on the back side of the cells, lots of mitochondria are present. Because PCT is involved in the process of absorption, and active transport is going to take place. And active transport requires energy. That's why lots of mitochondria are present over here. This is how PCT is present. Later on we will show all these structures in one single diagram. Now we are only discussing each and every structure individually. Next to PCT comes the renal tubule. Renal loop of Henle. This loop of Henle is comprising of two parts, ascending limb and descending limb. And that is continuously moving in continuity with the PCT. Let me show you. Suppose this is how I am drawing the Bowman capsule, the PCT, and with this PCT, this structure that is moving downwards is the descending limb. Now if we see carefully, the descending limb is having a thick segment that is in continuity with the PCT and later on a thin segment. Now it is again moving upward. This is the ascending limb, and this ascending limb is also having two segments, the thin segment and the thick segment. This is how the loop of Henle is present. This is loop of Henle, and this loop of Henle is having, this is the descending limb. In this descending limb, this is the thick segment and this is the thin segment. This thick segment is also made up of cuboidal cells that were present in the PCT, and they are also having brush bordered microvilli. This thin segment, when we are moving in this thin segment, the cuboidal cells, they are not having, or there is scarcity of microvilli. Now the number of microvilli are reducing. Same situation here also. This is the ascending limb. This is the thin segment of ascending limb and thick segment of ascending limb. Here also cuboidal cells are present and the number of microvilli are very less. This is how loop of Henle is present. Now this loop of Henle is moving into another structure, that is DCT, distal convoluted tubule. And this distal convoluted tubule is again a thick structure that is made up of cuboidal cells and some part, the terminal part is basically straight, and this straight part is acting as a junction, and it is going to combine with a duct that is known as collecting duct. This collecting duct is attached with various DCTs of different nephrons, and finally these collecting ducts are getting wider by combining and ending into a more larger space. This is how the nephron is made up of. Tomorrow we will see a complete structure of nephron, and we will label each and every part of nephron, and we will discuss how blood supply is coming to these nephrons and how blood is getting out from these nephrons.